Hi everybody, today we will be looking at lesson 107, Finding Common Denominators. Okay, I would like you to start by pausing the screencast right now, opening your book to page 798, the new concept for lesson 107, and reading page 798 about cross products, so that when we get to example 2, you have some idea of what I'm talking about. Okay, when you're done reading, even if it doesn't make sense, go ahead and come back and I'll walk you through it. Okay, so welcome back. I'm assuming that you have read page 798. So we're going to be talking about using common denominators in order to compare fractions. Because sometimes when we're comparing two fractions, it's difficult to tell which is larger or smaller if they don't have the same denominator. So for example, number 1, we are going to use common denominators to compare 2/3 and 3/5. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to rewrite the original problem. 2/3 and 3/5. Notice I've left plenty of room in between them. So we need to find a common denominator, also known as our least common multiple. So if I list these quickly in my head, I get 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. I know 15 is also a multiple of 5. So we're going to multiply by a fraction equal to 1. So I'm going to multiply this side by 5/5. I'm going to multiply this side by 3/3. So that I get 9/15. And on this side, I get 10/15. Now that I've done the multiplication, I'm going to rewrite the problem. 10/15, or the products, and 9/15, and 10/15 is greater than 9/15. Okay? Not by much, only by 1/15, which is why we needed to convert them to a common denominator. So to review, I multiplied 2/3 by 5/15, a fraction equivalent to 1, which would get me a denominator of 15. I multiplied 3/5 by 3/3 to again get me a common denominator at 15. And then I compared my two fractions. Okay, so now let's go look at example 2. All right. Example 2 is going to ask us to use cross products. So as you read, a cross product is basically when you take numbers like this, 5/6, and you take 7/8, and you multiply the fraction, one fraction, by the other fraction's denominator. So for example, 5/6, I'm going to multiply by 8, okay? By 8/8. Okay? And that's going to get me 40/48. I'm going to multiply 7/8 by 5/6 denominator, by 6/6. Okay? Which is going to get me 42/48. Well, my denominators are now the same, and only my numerators are different. So let's look at how this works using cross product multiplication. Okay, so I'm going to take 5/6, and I'm going to take 7/8, and I'm going to cross multiply, which means I'm going to multiply 6 times 7 and get 42. I'm going to multiply 8 times 5 and get 40. And now I'm going to say that 5/6 is less than 7/8 because 40 is less than 42. I didn't need to go through the entire process that I did first of multiplying by the entire 8/8 or the entire 6/6, because multiplying 6 times 8, both denominators will be the same. So I don't really need to multiply the denominators. I just need to know if the numerators, what the numerators are, so I can compare those. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at another example. All right, here we have 3/12 and 1/4, and I want to use cross product multiplication. Okay, so I'm going to write the problem, 3/12 and 1/4. And you're actually going to show, I'm going to multiply this. 12 times 1 is 12. 3 times 4 is 12. And because the cross multiplication numerators are both 12, 3/12 is equal to 1/4. So I didn't have to do any big fancy multiplication, okay? I do two simple multiplication problems and I compare the answers or the products of the cross multiplication as the numerator to determine whether my problem is less than, greater than, or equal to. All right, so that's cross product multiplication. Let's go on to example 4. Okay, this time it wants us to add. So 1/3 plus 1/6. But my denominators are not the same. So I need to change my denominators so that they are the same. You have two options. Option number 1 is to, where's my cursor? Hello. Oh, hang on. I think I just turned the pen off. All right, back in business. Okay, so I'm going to split my screen in half here, and we're going to put option 1. Okay, option 1 is to take 1/3, multiply it by the denominator of the other product, or fraction, 6/6, to get 6/18. Take 1/6, multiply it by the denominator equivalent to 1 from 1/3 to get 3/18. Then add 3/18 plus 6/18 equals 9/18, which reduces to 1/2. Okay, option 2 is 1/3. You know that 3 goes into 6 because this is a small number. Multiply it by 2/2 to get 2/6. Then add 2/6 plus 1/6 equals 3/6, which equals 1/2. Okay? Either of those is acceptable. Okay? All right, let's move on to example 3. However, make sure you wrote down both option 1 and option 2 for example 4, just for the practice. Okay. All right, example 5. 7/10 minus 2/3. Okay, so again, we need to find common denominators. So 7/10, this time I'm going to write it vertically, and 2/3. So I'm going to multiply 7/10 times 3/3, getting the 3 from the denominator of the other fraction, which will equal 21/30. Multiply 2/3 by 10/10, getting the 10 from the denominator from 7/10 equals 20/30. I subtract 21/30 minus 20/30, and I get 1/30. And there is my answer. Okay, so your lesson practice is A through O tonight. It does go on to the next page. Good luck, and I'll see you in the morning.